welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to put that little bell on, that way you get notified every single time I upload. I know it's been super sporadic lately. Things have been so crazy. Hopefully soon they will kind of slow down a little bit, and also I have a ton of investigations coming up, so you're not going to want to miss those. Now this is my second time filming this video. The first time, completely filmed it. I think I had like 44 minutes worth of footage. Went to edit it and I had a stain on my shirt. And if that's not anything more mom-like, I don't know what is. So, let's try this again. Okay, so things have been really crazy. And I just started the video and I didn't even realize that my light was on. Yeah, I've been having a lot of those moments. Anyways, we are going to talk about the Djinn. In Arabic lore, they are a type of interfering spirit. They're demon-like, but not exactly a demon. And they can either be good or evil. They also possess powers. Now, the modern type thing of a Djinn is a genie. And we all know what a genie is because of Aladdin. And I mean other tales as well. But like, you rub the lamp and the genie comes out. But Djinn are different. They're much more malicious than Genie. Like the genie from Aladdin, I mean. Like the Disney fairy tale version of a genie. Now in many Arabic folk tales, they appear as that like wish-granting genie, which is the one that we are most familiar with. In pre-Islamic lore, Djinn are malicious, born of smokeless fire, but they're not immortal. They just have very long lives. They live in a mythical range of emerald mountains that encircles the earth, that is known as the Kaf. Now, they don't live there alone. They live with other like folktale creatures. They like to roam deserts and the wilderness. They're normally invisible, but they do have the power to shapeshift into any form. Now, it said that King Solomon actually used a magic ring to control Djinn and to protect himself from them. The ring was set with a living, the gem was a living force. And with the ring, Solomon actually branded the necks of the Djinn as his slaves. Now, another story tells of a very jealous Djinn. Sometimes he's referred to as Asmodeus, and he steals the ring while Solomon bathes in the river Jordan. Now, the Djinn seated himself on Solomon's throne in his castle and reigned over his kingdom, which forced Solomon to become a wanderer. God compelled this Djinn to throw the ring into the sea. Solomon found the ring and punished the Djinn by imprisoning him in a bottle, which is where the genie in the bottle comes from. Or like the lamp, you know. In another story, Solomon took Djinn to his crystal-paved palace, where they sat at tables made of iron. Now, iron is supposed to be very, harmful to many different mythological type creatures. Now, the Quran, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but it tells how the king made them work at building palaces, making carpets, ponds, statues, gardens, and whenever Solomon wanted to travel a great distance, he would ride on their back to get there. So they were used as, they were his slaves. It said that he even forced the Djinn to build the Temple of Jerusalem and even the city itself. Now, Islamic theology modified Djinn. Some were very beautiful and good-natured. And according to the Muslim faith, humans are created from clay and water. Angels were made of light. And the Djinn was from smokeless fire or essential fire. Which makes sense why humans are of clay and water, because we're mostly made up of water. Which is why the moon phases affect us so greatly. And why we're also so bound to the earth. Now, some say that Jinn were created 2,000 years before Adam and Eve were, and that they're of the same superiority as angels. So they're up there. It said that their ruler, Iblis, refused to worship Adam. Absolutely refused. So he was cast out of heaven along with his followers. He became what we know to be the devil, and his followers became demons. It's also said that Iblis's throne is in the sea, which I find quite interesting because when you think of like the devil, you don't think of his throne being in the sea. But I guess there's so much unexplored of the ocean. Now, they have free will, and they can understand good and evil and make that decision for themselves, just like humanity. According to the Quran, their purpose is the same as humans, and that is to worship God. They are responsible for their actions and will be judged at the last judgment. In Islamic tradition, it says that on Wednesday, Allah created the angels. On a Thursday, he created the Jinn. Now, the Jinn lived on Earth for over 1,000 years, but pride would be their downfall. So they thought that they were much greater than Allah. So they didn't want to worship him. So Allah sent the angels to defeat all but a fusion. And then on a Friday, he created humanity. It said that there are 3 different types of Jinn. 1, those who can fly. They can be heavy, light, tall, or thin. They are shapeshifters with flexible bodies. Now, the second one is those who reside in a given area and are bound to that area. They might live in abandoned houses. And the third one is those who manifest as snakes, scorpions, creeping animals, dogs, but mainly black dogs and cats. Now, so those are the 3 different types, but Muhammad would warn people to cover their utensils, close their doors, and keep their children close to them at night. Because the Jinn would spread out at night and take things. He would also tell people to put out their night lights because the Jinn could drag the wicks away and start fire. It is also said that a Jinn would not open a locked door, untie a knot, or uncover a vessel. So these things kind of stopped them, which I'm kind of curious why, like they would take things. So I wonder why they wouldn't do those things. And this part I found interesting. So if somebody found a snake in their home, they're supposed to call out to the snake for 3 nights. If the snake was a Jinn, it would leave. If it wasn't, then you could kill it because it wasn't a Jinn. But personally, I would not want to just let a snake wander in my home for 3 nights with having pets and Sebastian. And I mean, I think snakes are really, really cool, but I don't want to touch one. I don't want one to just kind of slither on me when I'm sleeping. So I would rather take it and put it outside. Now, sometimes Jinn were commanded by witchcraft. And in Egypt, they would be said to guard a pharaoh's tomb, and they would harm anybody who would violate that sacred space. They can be male or female, they have children, they play, sleep, and have animals. They also eat meat, bones, and animal dung, which is disgusting. So they basically eat close to anything. Their appearances vary. They may have the legs of a goat, a black tail, a hairy body. They may be exceptionally tall, and they could have eyes set vertically in their head. They prefer to live in deserts, ruins, graveyards, garbage dumps, bathrooms, camel pastures, and hashish tents. But they can also live in houses where people live. It's said that they love to sit in a place between the shade and the sunlight, and they like to move around when the first darkness falls. They're also known to be fond of marketplaces, and Muslims are warned to not be the first person to enter a marketplace, nor the last to leave it. It can appear to humans as spirits of the dead and communicate to humans through visions or voices. And it's actually said that Djinn are who taught the human sorcery, which I think is pretty cool, because who doesn't like magic? They are They are known to eat human food in order to steal its energy. Unless someone says Allah before eating. So I think because it's like, they like bless it, so then the Djinn can't steal its energy. And it's said that the Djinn can fall in love with humans. Although there is no direct evidence of this, no children have been born with both Djinn and human qualities. People go back and forth whether they think it's unlawful for a human to marry a Djinn, and most Islamic jurists actually believe it is. But I mean, I say love is love. Whatever. They're happy. Let them be. Now, it said that if the mother is human, that the child will have mostly human qualities and be visible. And if the mother is Djinn, then the child would have mostly Djinn qualities and be invisible. They are known to interfere with human relationships. Now, if one were to fall in love with a human, they will cause havoc in that person's relationship because they're in love with the human and they want that person. So they want to break up that person with their significant other. And ordinary humans can, ordinary human acts can hurt and even kill Djinn without a human realizing it. Now, when this happens, it's not uncommon for the Djinn to want to take revenge on the human. So they will possess them. Other people that are prone to or have an increased chance of being possessed by a Djinn are people who live alone. And it's said that pairs of Djinn stay with each person, which I think this is actually quite interesting. One whispers good and the other whispers evil. So do you know those old cartoons where you have like the angel and the devil on your shoulders or on the person's shoulders and they're whispering in your ear telling you, oh, you should do this. Like, this will be fun. And the other one's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So like, kind of like that. But it said that even human moods can be affected by them. But they have no power over the human soul or the heart. Now, when a person is possessed by a Djinn, they experience a lot of the same things as a regular spirit possession or demonic possession. They will appear insane. They will exhibit signs of anger, anxiety, and depression. A woman's voice will sound like a man's and vice versa. Physical symptoms include nausea after eating, headaches, frequent desires to fight, heavy shoulders, a constant feeling of dissatisfaction, and a desire to induce harm to yourself. Sometimes simply asking the Djinn to leave if you're being possessed is not enough, and somebody just like with a demonic possession has to come in and actually expel the Djinn through an exorcism. There are people that believe that Djinn are just simply magical creatures and they don't really fall in like the creation story. And it's said that it's impossible for humans to sense them with their direct sensory organs. Now there's like a rule of thumb, and it's all angels and demons are Djinn, but not all Djinn are angels and demons. So all angels and demons are supposed to be fall under the category of Djinn. However, there's so many different species of Djinn and subspecies that not all Djinn are angels and demons. Those are just species of Djinn. In Islamic tradition, Muhammad, which was the last prophet of Allah, was sent as a prophet not only to humans but also to the Djinn. And another Islamic prophet, King Solomon, also had interaction with the Djinn. He was given the ability to speak not only to animals, but also to the Djinn. He had control over rebellious ones, and legend said that this ability actually gave him the power to make the rebellious Djinn build the first temple, and allowed him to learn cures for illnesses that were inflicted on humans by Djinn. Now, after the war between the angels and the Djinn, which we kind of touched base on, Allah created humans, but then another problem arose. Iblis refused to bow to Allah and said that because he was created from smokeless fire, that he was far more superior than humanity because they are only made of clay and water. So he would not bow to them. So Allah banished Iblis from heaven and condemned him to hell. So he accepted his fate. But he asked to be spared until Judgment Day so that he could tempt humans from the path of righteousness and lead them to the same fate that he would end up serving. Now, Allah agreed to this, but would not give Iblis power over humans. He only had the power to tempt them. So humanity still could make their own decision. Now, there are several different types of beings that exist within the Jinn definition, but the Jinn also has several subspecies. Surah 72 say that there are 3 main types of Jinn that exist, but we're going to cover some of the known different subspecies of Jinn. So the first one is an Ifrit. This is a type of Jinn that are often found in ancient ruins. They protect Egyptian pyramids and burial grounds, and it's said that if someone tries to open these areas without an anti-spell, that they will kill the person. They have royalty and social ranking that follows Arabic tribal lines, including tribes and clans. While they prefer to marry other Ifrit, they sometimes marry humans and have children with them. They are known for their power to grant wishes, and they have free will and can be believers or non-believers. They are considered wicked and malevolent and should be avoided at all costs. The next one is the Murid. Now, these are said to be the most powerful ones. They represent the modern-day Genie, and they can shapeshift. They are very large, and they can grant wishes, but the wishes come at a very costly price. It requires a great deal of battle to even obtain a wish in the first place. They can also be made to grant wishes if they are imprisoned with magic or if a ritual is performed in their honor. Flattery can also work, but it takes a lot of flattery to gain their favor. The next one is the Ghoul. Now, these are the most feared Jinn because not only can they shapeshift, but they also prey on humans. They have a craving for human flesh, and although they often feed off the dead, and that does satisfy them, I guess. Gross. But they, alive humans as well. They can be found, obviously, in graveyards, ruins, and places that are usually uninhabited. They will attack people who travel alone or in small groups that they can easily overtake. And female ghouls are the most feared because they can appear as beautiful maidens, convince human men to marry them, and then they devour them. So, if you meet someone in the graveyard, maybe you don't want to go on a date with them. If that is where you meet them. You literally meet them the first time. You never talked to them before and you meet them in a graveyard. Jeff and Maya. Second date, we went to a graveyard. No, that wasn't our second date. Yeah, that was our second date. Yeah, we went to a graveyard. I like cemeteries, though. I find them fascinating. So the next one is the Jinn. So these appear as dogs or other animals. They're mostly spotted in Arabia, Persia, and India. The next one is the Djinn. They're shapeshifters and they live in the desert. They're most friendly and open-minded of the Jinn. They appear in the form of whirlwinds or white camels. And they can be very mischievous. They are powerful allies because they are enemies of the ghouls. Next, we have the Sila. So these are shapeshifters. They're tolerant towards humans. And they like to try to help humans, but they're rarely sighted. Next, we have the Palace. So these have many similarities to the vampires of Europe. They live in the desert and they drain the blood of their victim by licking the soles of their feet and sucking the blood out that way. So it takes foot fetish to a whole nother level, which is just weird. All of it's weird. But they're not the smartest, so you can outwit them by having 2 people sleeping end to end with their feet touching or putting their feet under each other's heads. And then next we have the Quarine. So it is thought that everyone is born with their own. It's the part of the person that causes them to do bad things and sin. Now, it is possible to make yours your servant, but the process takes years and it can be very dangerous. It said that Muhammad actually turned his into a Muslim and got rid of his evil nature completely. Other benefits of taming your Quran is being able to obtain info on anyone in the world, being able to cure illnesses, finding lost or stolen things, influencing other Quarians to get a person to do literally whatever you want, being aware of who is coming to see you before they arrive. But I feel like nowadays most people don't show up, like with cell phones and stuff, people don't just usually show up uninvited, I guess, or without talking to someone first, letting them know they're coming. So I feel like that's like an unnecessary one in modern times, but who knows? Maybe it could be useful. Next, we have the Shaitan. So these are evil jinn with no hope of salvation. They pledge their service to Iblis, or they are sometimes used and controlled by dark magicians. They have the ability to cause illness and even death. And they are capable of a lot of destruction. They also have the ability to make someone lose everything they have, and they can possess humans. So they are definitely ones you want to stay away from. Next are the Vitala. They are the original vampires. They can possess corpses and prevent them from decaying. For them to walk around like more freely and without people, think like more unnoticed, I guess. They are extremely intelligent and are natural psychics, and they have the ability to read thoughts and tell a person's future. Rule of thumb, the jinn should be avoided at all costs. They're not really something to be messed with. They're very, very powerful. And the belief of the jinn actually predates the creation of Islam. But the creatures are referenced in the Quran, which is the Muslim holy book. And when it talks about them, it's not as metaphors or mythological creatures. They're as real entities whose existence is taken for granted. So they're talked about like in Christianity, how they talk about like angels and stuff. That is how jinn are talked about in this holy book, that they are real entities. They are known to be repelled by salt and iron, which are a lot of mythical creatures, like fairies are repelled by salt and iron. And in some places, the jinn are so feared that even uttering their name risks retribution. So it's crazy because I wonder how many haunted houses or spiritual encounters weren't spirits and were actually jinn. And people just, they didn't know it. Tell me what you guys think about that. And tell me if you have ever heard of the jinn or ever had an encounter with them. Again, they are something that you don't want to mess with them. Just kind of leave them be type things. Because I don't think they're like even the nicer ones, I still don't think that they're particularly fond of humanity. So definitely like you do you, I'll do me type thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And whenever you guys want me to like dive into a certain topic, I have a ton planned, but obviously I'm always open to suggestions that you guys want. So you can always leave those in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. Any of those things work. And again, I'm having a ton of different investigations coming up. I'm so excited. And they'll be in other states, so maybe it'll be in a state that you guys live in. So definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the little bell so that you don't miss any of them. And if you like this video, definitely give it a big thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think of Djinn in the comments down below. And until next time, I love you guys. Bye.